Welcome back to the Breckenridge Town Council update. I'm Director of Communications for the town of Breckenridge, Kim Dykstra, and here with the Town Council update for June 24th. If you're interested in what's going on in town and town council, we have a number of ways that you can get involved. You can watch our update here every 2 weeks after the Breckenridge Town Council meetings, which are the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month, where Town Manager Tim Gagen and I talk about kind of the highlights of what happened at the meeting. We also have our meeting minutes, which are actually recorded, that you could actually listen to the town council meeting the day after each town council meeting. You can just log on to townofbreckenridge.com and go to minutes, and you can listen to the meetings as they actually happen. So that's another way. And we also have a number of topics that we'd love for your input on right now. We've got a couple hot topics that we're asking for your input on. Go to www.engagebreckenridge.com. We also have a Facebook page and Twitter and all sorts of ways for you to get engaged and get involved in your community. For the June 24th Town Council meeting, let's hear from Town Manager Tim Gagen on all the highlights. So Tim, June 24th, 2014, Town Council update. Kind of a big topic that we had a fair amount of people coming to give us their input in regards to what's now called Hotel Breck, which most people know as the old Breckenridge Mountain Lodge on the south end of town.
Right. The property is down by basically where Breck Brewery is, down in that area. It's been vacant for about 3 years, and Vail still owns it, Vail Corporation, and they are pending a sale to a developer of a hotel property. The hotel property is a Marriott flagged type of product that they'd like to bring to town, and they were working on what we call a development agreement, which is the initial step of allowing a developer to go before planning and try to see if they can meet our code. So the council had been working on this for almost a couple months now, and the developer, Triumph Development, which is out of Vail, is the lead developer, and they've worked out all the details of that development agreement and held a public hearing and got some public comment related to some properties right near the project. And the council gave the nod to at least progressing to the next step, which is the more detailed planning step with a lot more public meetings and public input process. But essentially what it will bring is a new product to town that we currently don't have, which is what they call an extended stay full service, not a full service, but a hotel, and a pure hotel as opposed to a condo hotel, which is more the product that we have around town. So the council, like as indicated, did give the nod, and so it'll start the next step of the process to see if they can meet our development code.
Yeah, and it really rounds out what we have here in terms of accommodations offerings.
Right, it really does offer a different type of product than this is more like a 2 to 3 day stay that people do. They tend to be not long stays, not large groups or anything else like that. This is really more the person that would probably go through the Marriott reservation system and say, oh, Marriott has a product in Breckenridge, I would like to stay there sometime. And hopefully drive new incremental business into the community. And it has potential, obviously, of driving some nice dollars into the town, both lodging tax and also spin-off dollars when people work Main Street. After they stay in a hotel, they tend to go down and eat and shop in town, as opposed to, and there won't be a restaurant in this, so that's a piece that will help drive more of that business into the core town.
Correct. And we're kind of wrapping up a 8 to 10 year project called the Main Street Revitalization Project, and boy, it's been a great adventure in terms of that. And interestingly enough, when we started this project, it wasn't so busy in May and June, and now we're starting to get kind of busy in June. But we're at the end of that Main Street Revitalization Project.
Right. This is the last year, and it was. I mean, everybody after it's done says, "Boy, it looks great." But getting the construction done is always a challenge, and as indicated, June, surprisingly this year, is up substantially in business activity, and we normally don't see that. Normally May and June is our quietest months, and they still are relatively quiet compared to the rest of the summer and the winter months. So we try to do all the construction in a 2-month period, and unfortunately, this is fairly disturbing. You're replacing sidewalks, you're replacing pretty much everything in front of the businesses in different blocks, and it's gone fairly well through the years, but this last year where we really tried to get it cranked up and get it done so we don't keep disturbing the businesses. It did generate a little excitement from the local businesses about a concern of whether or not it would affect shoppers getting to their stores. And the contractor did a great job. Our staff worked real hard to make sure the businesses were open and inviting as much as possible. And now we're going to wrap it up before July 4th, and hopefully won't be back doing any type of major project downtown for a little while.
Yeah, well, it looks great. A couple other public projects that the staff reported on include Arts District, the Breckenridge Grand Vacations Community Center, all on schedule, all on budget.
Yeah, doing well right now. The Arts District in particular is cranking to be ready for what we call a preview in late September, and that's the time schedule we had hoped. The only building that won't be available is what we call the Masonic Hall, which is really the last building that's going to be worked on, and that's really going to happen next year. But the rest of the Arts District properties, if you go by it, there's a lot of stuff going on there right now. So we'll be ready for a preview opening and then hopefully a grand opening at the very end of the year, timing that with the Breck Grand Vacations Community Center, which is moving along very well also. A lot of work going on there with the outside, particularly if you go by it now, you'll see the brick is looking shinier and newer because they're cleaning it all. They're putting on the addition for the speakeasy entrance, and those type of things are all be very active through the rest of the summer. Unfortunately, it's taking away a little parking that we normally had up there, but that only occurred while the construction is occurring. So for the rest of this year, until we're ready for that, hopefully grand opening in December. And we'll have more to talk about in the grand opening when we have some people working right now on that. So very, very exciting projects, big projects, and so hopefully everything will go as scheduled. The weather will continue to cooperate, and we'll have a good final construction season.
Great. And speaking of which, our financials for April were presented to council.
Right, these are our numbers for the sales tax and lodging that are actually about a month and a half delayed from where we really know what they are. So we report April, even though we do have actual numbers for our real estate transfer tax into June, because we collect that ourselves. And we have continued a trend starting almost 20 months ago where each month has been up. And April showed again a strong return, which is usually again a start of a slow month. This year with the better snow and obviously with the ski area staying open a little later and fairly good weather for skiing and things like that, we saw a little boost. It's a small number overall for most of our months, but it was still a good positive sign that people continue to come, people continue to spend money, and so our general, we're ahead of all of our revenue estimates at this point in time, and our expenditure side is tracking below, which is all good news for for the continuation, hopefully a strong summer.
Those are good points. Also in April, we also hosted the Mountain Travel Symposium,
Right.
which I'm hoping
Big group, right.
actually is helping with those numbers as well.
Exactly.
So, and Pinewood Village, which is a second portion of an attainable housing, but in a rental situation, got sort of the green light from Town Council.
Right, we have Pinewood 1, which was done almost 15 years ago, which is a lower priced AMI target, lower income target for people renting. Really particularly attacks kind of our service worker wage level so that people can get into the community at a lower rent and be able to work here and then hopefully move up in later. And it's been a very successful project. We had been looking at a phase 2 at one point called Pence Miller, which is the trail right above it, if you happen to know the biking trails and hiking trails. And that project at that time is being done on a piece of property we acquired from the Forest Service. And it was targeted to expand our rental product. We've gone through a lot of iterations. Unfortunately, the site is not an easy site because it's not flat. It's a rolling site. It goes right up against the hillside. But it's a great location for attaching another rental product. So the committee has been working on what's the right mix so that we don't have to subsidize it to a great extent, which normally we do have to do with affordable housing. And they've come up with a model that will allow us to hopefully look at about 36 units, a lot smaller than what we originally had thought might be able to put there. And it will be done more with the town leading the project as opposed to how we've approached the original Pinewood 1, where we let the developer do almost all that, take all the risks, but they also take all the profits. So we're translating what would be that model or the profit model into not having to subsidize. So we're going to continue to work with Quorum Development, who is the manager of phase 1, and pull together hopefully a good architectural plan, get it through the planning process, which we'll have to go through. And then hopefully by next year we may have a good look at another construction project. Council put a heavy emphasis on local bidding and hiring, so the construction will be focused on that. But we are pretty excited because the council can control the rent levels, which is fairly important because there's a whole segment of our community that struggles to find housing, and particularly at that lower service wage level. So the council will have a little flexibility to really expand, even though it's only 36 units, the accessibility of some lower rents for folks that will hopefully live and work here in our community.
Great, it's a good addition. Some other additions, kind of on the other end, kind of more north to the town, north of town, is the Blue River Restoration and what we call the Blue River Park, and that's what we would consider on the piece of property that we typically refer to as Block 11.
Right. This is hopefully the final phase of our Blue River restoration.